So when you say the book of Isaiah is intact, how similar is it to the book of Isaiah that's in the Bible?
Hi, and welcome to this video on biblical numerics and Bible prophecy. We'll be focusing in on the book of Isaiah in this video. In a moment, I'll be showing you a video clip from the Joe Rogan Experience. But first, I want to say a few things about the book of Isaiah. For one, it contains 66 chapters. And that is interesting because the Bible contains 66 books. If we use a simple ordinal English cipher, the name Isaiah has a value of 47. And if we reverse that cipher, the word vision equals 74, which is the reverse of 47. Now, the meaning of the name Isaiah is salvation of the Lord. Now, the phrase the vision occurs 37 times in the King James Bible, and 37 times 2 equals 74. So 74 is a multiple of 37. I am using the King James Pure Bible Search software. You can download that for free at purebiblesearch.com. Now, I pointed out that the name Isaiah has a simple ordinal gematria value of 47, and 47 scholars participated in the translation of the King James Bible according to Britannica.com. I'll talk about the significance of these numbers later in this video, so without further ado, here's the Joe Rogan Experience with guest Wesley Huff.
What is the oldest version of the Bible or the stories in the Bible? Is it the Dead Sea Scrolls or are there older versions?
The Dead Sea Scrolls are the oldest of the Old Testament. So when they were discovered, they were discovered in 1946 to 1957. And at that point, during their discovery, they pushed back a lot of our previous oldest manuscripts 1,000 years, which was a big deal.
How old are they?
They're anywhere between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century BC. When we're talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, you have ones like the Great Isaiah Scroll, which is fully complete. It's a copy of the book of Isaiah, and it's a full, complete scroll.
So when you say the book of Isaiah is intact, how similar is it to the book of Isaiah that's in the Bible?
So that one is fascinating. So this isn't true for all of the Dead Sea Scrolls, but when we discovered the Great Isaiah Scroll, previous to that, the earliest copy of Isaiah that we had was in the Masoretic text, which is in the Middle Ages.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was literally 1,000 years. We literally pushed back our understanding of Isaiah 1,000 years. And the thing that really shocked scholars, like I said, this isn't true for all of the Dead Sea Scrolls, but one of the things that shocked them about Isaiah was that it was word for word identical to the Masoretic text.
Word for word?
Word for word.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the Great Isaiah Scroll. So if you go to Israel and
Wait,
you go...
Is that papyrus?
Yes. No, I think that one is vellum.
What is vellum?
So I should be more specific. So parchment is animal skin. Vellum can be used synonymously with the term parchment. Technically, parchment is like baby animal skin, like calves or lambs. But this is the Great Isaiah Scroll, and you can see they stitch together the parchment because it's so long.
God, it's so beautiful. The way they wrote back then was so beautiful. I mean, maybe it's because I can't read it, that it's so fat. Maybe if I saw English, I would think that's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Especially script, like cursive. Cursive is very beautiful.
Let's go to the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verse 17. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, and when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written. Now, we're going to go to that place, but the word book or books occurs exactly 47 times in the New Testament of the King James Bible. The book of the prophet Isaiah has a value of 282, and that is 47 times 6. Now, in Luke 4, Jesus is reading from the 61st chapter of the book of Isaiah, and you can see from the gematria cipher that the reverse of Jesus is 61. And Isaiah 61 is the 740th chapter of the Bible, and the name Jesus equals 74. So here we see a 74-61 pattern associated with the name Jesus, and there's a 74-61 pattern in Isaiah 61. Also notice the gematria of the word upon is 66. Again, 66 chapters in Isaiah, 66 books in the Bible. Let's go back to Luke 4, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. That word preach occurs in 47 verses of the King James Bible and exactly 47 times in the New Testament. And like the name Jesus, the word gospel has a value of 74. Here, Mark 1:1, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. 47 letters in this verse. And that phrase, Son of God, case sensitive as it occurs in this verse, occurs exactly 47 times in the King James Bible. So the point I'm really trying to make here is that the numbers 47 and 74 are very important numbers in the Bible. Now let's go back to Isaiah 61. Notice that the word prison occurs exactly 47 times in the Old Testament. And captives, of course, are kept in the prison. And the word captive, using the triangular cipher shown here, using triangular numbers, equals 666. The number 666 is also a triangular number. It's the 36th triangular number. We'll talk more on 666 later on in this video, but let's go. Luke 4:19 says to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And at this point, Jesus closes the book because what was read so far deals with his first coming, the first advent. Verse 21, and he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. The word ears occurs exactly 151 times in the King James Bible, the value of the phrase Jesus Christ. Now remember, the name Isaiah means salvation of the Lord. Look at Isaiah 12 verse 2. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also is become my salvation. That word salvation is Yeshua in the Hebrew. And the phrase my salvation equals 151, like the phrase the Lord Jehovah, like the phrase Jesus Christ. And even the reverse of my salvation and the reverse of Jesus Christ are equivalent, and that is 146, 73 times 2. Now remember, Jesus closed the book, so let's look at what he didn't read. And the day of vengeance of our God to comfort all that mourn. Okay, that word comfort, 66 times in the King James Bible. Again, Isaiah, 66 chapters. The Bible, 66 books. So what we're going to do now is a Bible study on Isaiah chapter 34. And to help me with that, I'm going to use a video featuring Brandon Peterson of the YouTube channel Truth is Christ.
Most people do not realize that the Bible is prophesied in the Bible. The actual book itself can be found in the Holy Scriptures. God has prophesied of this book. And because he has prophesied this book, and because it has his name on it, as you're going to see, this points us to there must be one specific book that he's talking about. I talk about this book over and over and over again in my videos. At the end of my videos, I'll say this book was prophesied of in Isaiah. So this is going to be a Bible study to really dig into and show you in context of how this book, the Bible, the Holy Bible, was prophesied in the book of Isaiah. I'm going to read through it, and it's important to read through the whole chapter to have an understanding of the context. Because if you take a couple verses out of context, you'll never fully grasp, and it'll never fully click for you that this is talking about the Bible. You have to know what the surrounding context is, and once you understand that, it's all going to fall into place. So first, let me read the passage from Isaiah 34:16 about the actual Bible, and then I'm going to break down for you from the actual chapter why this is talking about the Bible and how you can know with 100% certainty this is talking about the Bible. So Isaiah 34:16, I'm not sure if you've read it before. If you're new to this channel, you might not have seen it before. If you're new to the Bible, you probably have not read it because a lot of people tend to avoid the prophets when they're first reading the Bible. But let's read it. So it says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them.
I'd like to point out a few things about Isaiah 34 verse 16. Now, the phrase out of the case sensitive and the phrase book of the Lord combined for a total of 666 in the Old Testament. The word read occurs in 66 verses of the King James Bible. The word these in this verse, case sensitive, occurs exactly 666 times in the Old Testament. Now there's another 666 pattern in verse 16. The word book and the word Lord, case sensitive as it occurs in this verse, total for 6,660 in the King James Bible. That does include the superscriptions in the Psalms. But this isn't the only pattern of 666 with the word book. Look at Revelation 13:8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. I have that underlined for a reason. Very important. We'll see here in a moment. But the word book, life, and lamb, case sensitive as it occurs in this verse, combined for 666 in the King James Bible. The next verse in this chapter, verse 17, is the 666th verse of the book of Isaiah.
And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So this seems a little bit confusing when you read it, and we're going to go through it in context of the actual chapter. And once you actually go through it in the chapter itself and you start cross-referencing it throughout the Bible, you'll see how clear this is and how obvious this is.
Like I said, this is the 666th verse of the book of Isaiah, and that word lot has a value of 47. Now, I'm just giving number patterns. It's up to you to maybe to make some connections for yourself. I have my personal beliefs on the number 666, the number of the beast. I have made several videos on the subject, but moving on.
So let's start in the beginning of Isaiah 34. It says, Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it.
Now, the book of Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible, and Isaiah contains 66 chapters. But who's being spoken to in Isaiah 34:1? Ye nations, ye people. Now, the mystery of the whore and the beast are given in Revelation 17, and the whore sitteth on many waters, and the waters are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Now, remember Revelation 13:9, if any man hath an ear, let him hear. And we see that here. Come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken. Ye people, let the earth hear.
For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. So this verse right here, this specifically happens in the book of Revelation. And the book of Revelation has not happened yet. This is a future prophecy. This happens in Revelation 6:13-14. So I want you to look at this side by side with me with Isaiah 34, verse 4, with Revelation 6:13-14. Now, in context of Revelation 6, this is the sixth seal being opened. So it says in Isaiah 34, all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. And then if you go down a little bit, all their hosts shall fall down as a falling fig from the fig tree. Revelation 6:13 says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And then it says that here's the confirmation that it's the same exact event. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Now look back in Isaiah 34:4. The heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. So 100% this is talking about the same event. And it's future prophecy. So this, what we're reading in Isaiah 34, has not happened yet. And that's important to understand. So this is a future prophecy. So let's go back to Isaiah 34 and keep reading, starting at verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse, to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
So Isaiah 34 is about judgment of the nations, the judgment of the heathen. Okay, I want to drill down on this Isaiah 34:5 because he kind of glosses over it. Idumea is Edom, and Edom is Esau. Look at Genesis 25:25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. The word red occurs exactly 47 times in the Old Testament, and the word red occurs in Revelation 12, right? There's a great red dragon, okay? So this red's connected with the beast and the serpent, and it occurs 47 times in the Old Testament, like I said. The phrase the first, the reverse Sumerian, which is basically a times 6 cipher, equals 666. So we're going to explore Esau as a type of the beast or the Antichrist. Notice that he's hairy like a garment. And what were the garments made of back then? Animal skin, animal fur. You just get this image of Esau being this beast-like man, even at birth, almost as if he's already mature coming out of the womb. Look at verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. The phrase man of the field only occurs one time in the Bible, and it's right here in this verse. And contrast that with the beast of the field. Now think about beasts. Beasts are good hunters. Esau is a good hunter, right? So again, we're just seeing that picture of Esau as the beast. Now the ordinal Hebrew of Jacob is 47, and the standard Hebrew of Esau is 376. That is 47 times 8. So let's calculate 666 using Esau as a type or foreshadowing of the beast. The first mention of beast in the Bible is in Genesis 1:24, and the phrase beast of the earth occurs there. That equals 153. In Genesis 3, we're told that the serpent, which is that great red dragon we read about in Revelation 12, he's the beast of the field, and that has a value of 137. And 153 plus 137 plus 376 equals 666. The number 666 occurs 4 times in the Bible. The first mention is in 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 14, and that's the 376th verse of 1 Kings. And the second mention of 666 is in 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 13, and that's the 376th chapter of the Bible.
And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And we know that Jesus said in Luke that these things must be fulfilled, talking about the abomination of desolation, so that the days of vengeance would be fulfilled, so the scriptures would be fulfilled. So the day of the Lord's vengeance. So we're definitely talking about something in the future. The abomination of desolation has not happened yet.
Now I'm glad he mentioned the book of Luke. We looked at Luke 4 earlier. Go read Luke 4:7. Anyways, Luke 17:26. And as it was in the days of Noe, so shall it also be in the days of the Son of Man. Okay. Noe has a value of 47, the reverse ordinal. And in the days of Noah, it was in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, that the flood began. And that's the 47th day of the 600th year of Noah's life. Remember, Isaiah 34 is about the judgment of the nations. Look at Luke 17:27. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, and they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Now, the word flood occurs in 47 verses of the Old Testament, and the phrase into the occurs in 666 verses of the Old Testament. Verse 28. Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. The word Sodom occurs in 47 verses of the King James Bible, and the word fire in exactly 47 books. Now let's skip down to verse 37. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. So now we're going to go on and talk about some unclean birds, and that's why I wanted to show you this verse, because it's very important. That word eagles has a standard value of 148. That is 74 times 2, but this will become more apparent as we continue.
And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. That's important to keep in mind. Burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. So this actually happens in Revelation as well. So in verse 9 it said the land thereof shall become burning pitch. And then right after that in verse 10, it shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. And Revelation chapter 19 verse 3, again they said, Alleluia, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. And whose smoke is that? That's the smoke of Babylon. Revelation chapter 18 verses 9 to 10 says, And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and have lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the smoke goes up forever and ever, just like it says here in verse 10 of Isaiah 34, the smoke thereof shall go up forever. Now here is the key. There's already 2 places now where it matches with Revelation perfectly. But this part, it makes it 100% certain that this is a future event. This has not happened yet. And it's talking about specifically, it makes it so impossible to miss. But if you haven't studied prophecy, and if you overread things that don't seem important to you, you won't get it. So in verse 11 of Isaiah 34, it says, But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. Talking about possessing that land that's burning forever and ever. So the cormorant and the bittern, these are birds. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. Now look how it says, all her princes shall be nothing. It's just interesting because that's talking about Babylon. It is also referred to as a her or a she in Revelation, the great whore. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof. And it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court for owls. These birds and the dragons are super important to understand the context of this, and we'll see that in a second. Verse 14, The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest.
Let's connect Isaiah 34 with Edom again. Malachi 1:3, And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And we saw those dragons there in Isaiah 34 along with those other beasts. So we can see how Isaiah 34 is connected with beasts. So we should be gleaning information about the Antichrist, the number of the beasts in Isaiah 34. And lo and behold, it contains the 666th verse of the book of Isaiah. Now look at that phrase, I hated. 47 referring to Esau. Esau occurs 88 times in the King James Bible, and the reverse of beast is 88. The number 88 is interesting. There's 88 constellations. That's in the zodiac. And what does Zoa mean? It means like beast, right? And that's where we get the word zoo from. And on 9/11, when they would do the remembrance of that event, they would shine 88 lights into heaven, 44 lights for each tower. It is interesting that the first verse of the Bible contains 44 letters, and the last verse of the Bible contains 44 letters, and the total being 88.
There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Now, the vultures are gathered with her mate. So we're going to read this in context. I know in previous videos, I've read other people's commentaries on this that would interpret it otherwise, but we're going to read this in context. And we're going to look at how this actually points to the Bible with even more certainty. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord, and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. So that's talking about the vultures. The vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Verse 16, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. That them is talking about the birds in context. And he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. I believe that's talking about Babylon, the kingdom, the burning forever, forever. They shall possess it forever. So all these birds will possess Babylon as it burns forever and ever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. And that obviously goes back to all those other previous verses. An habitation for dragons, a court for owls. They shall rest there, a place of rest. They shall possess it. They shall dwell in it. And then in verse 17, they shall, from generation to generation, shall they dwell therein. This is talking about all those birds in the previous verses. So what's up with the birds?
Let's go to Obadiah 1 verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That word rock has a value of 47. Now go look at Deuteronomy 32. For their rock is not as our rock, big R. Okay? 247s, two rocks. Think about it. Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now the triangular number cipher, the word eagle has a value of 137, and we saw that the beast of the field, referring to the serpent in Genesis 3:1, also equals 137, just using the ordinal cipher.
And how are they proof that this is talking about the Bible? Well, turn your Bible to Revelation 18 again. Revelation 18:2 is the key to understanding this chapter. Revelation 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So, what you just read in Revelation 18 is saying that Babylon will become the habitation, the dwelling place, the cage, the hold, where all these unclean birds will be. In Isaiah 34, you just read a list of 7 unclean birds. Now, let's look at the proof of this. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, verses 13 to 17. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl.
Notice that the first bird listed in Leviticus 11 is the eagle. Look at Jeremiah 49, verse 21. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Basra, and at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. The word mighty occurs 37 times in the New Testament. Remember, Edom equals 37 numerically. But we see this word wings, and that's why I wanted to come to this verse, because it combines the eagle with the wings, and wings equals 666 using the standard cipher. Now, historically, the eagle was a picture of the Roman Empire, and even Jews in the Talmud believe that Edom then was Rome, and there's debate on who Edom is today, but you just have to follow the eagle. It flies from one empire to another. Again, it was the standard of the Roman legions, and the eagle was a picture of the god Jupiter, right? That eagle just flies away to the Holy Roman Empire and to Nazi Germany, and then where's the eagle nested at today? In Obadiah, we saw that Edom wants to exalt himself as the eagle and make his nest among the stars, okay, to be like God, in other words. And what nation is connected with the eagle and the stars and sent up a spacecraft named after the god Apollo 11, and landed a capsule on the moon named the Eagle? Okay, so we just start putting these pieces of the puzzle together, and to me it becomes clear who the political beast is in the end times. There's only one candidate that fits the bill, in my opinion.
These birds are unclean birds. 7 of them are mentioned in Isaiah 34. The cormorant is in Leviticus 11:17. The bittern, which is also, if you look it up, and for example, just look it up on Wikipedia, is the kite in verse 14. The owl is in verse 16. The raven, verse 15. The screech owl, which is a really tiny owl, in verse 17. And the great owl in verse 17. And vultures in verse 14. All of these 7 birds mentioned here in Isaiah 34 are unclean birds, pointing to Revelation 18:2, where Babylon will become a habitation for every unclean and hateful bird. And then you have things like satyrs and dragons and wild beasts of the desert. And back in Revelation 18:2, it says, this will become the habitation of devils. Dragons, satyrs, these are devils, and the hold of every foul spirit. So this, Isaiah 34, is a prophecy that has not yet happened. The key to understanding it is to understand that these birds are mentioned in Revelation 18.
So the law of the beast is found in Leviticus 11, and it contains exactly 47 verses. And in verse 47, the second mention of beast is the 47th occurrence of the word in the King James Bible. When we combine that with the fact that the gematria value of the word beast is 47, we have 3 connections of beast to 47 in this one verse.
Now, there's another confirmation of this. It says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, no one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. So this prophecy is telling you that you will be able to look in the book of the Lord, and you will be able to see that nothing failed, that this happened exactly as God said it would. And that book must be available. That must be available in the end times, because it hasn't yet happened. So the Bible is saying that after these events happen, which is still in the future from us now, you will be able to seek it out in the book of the Lord and look for yourself that nothing failed. You will be able to verify for yourself this is exactly what God said would happen. Now, here is one of the most important things of all. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. Who is the ye? Ye. Who are ye? Now, ye in the King James Bible, as you probably already know, is the plural form of you. So it's talking about you, multiple people, where thee, thou, thine is talking about you, singular, one person. Ye is talking about you, all you people. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. Who is that ye pointing to? Is it pointing to the children of Israel? No, they're not mentioned anywhere in this chapter. Is it pointing to the dragons and the birds that are mentioned? I don't think so. Who is the ye talking about? Well, it actually says so in verse 1. It says, come near ye nations to hear, and hearken ye people. Let the earth hear. That's the earth, that's everybody. And all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. Everything on planet Earth. That's who it's talking to. This prophecy is telling the entire earth to seek out of the book of the Lord. The entire earth didn't have access to the Jewish scriptures in the Old Testament, but it does now. It's right here. The entire world has access to the Bible now.
Now look at that phrase, no one of these shall fail. Now I should put it on the slide, but the reverse gematria of 1 is 47, like the name Noe. Okay, these 666 times in the Old Testament case sensitive. No one of these shall fail. What are these referring to? The birds and the beasts, or the prophecies about the birds and these beasts and dragons? Okay, there's going to be a mate to these prophecies in the book of the Lord, and that mate is the book of Revelation. And what do you know? John equals 47, like the name Isaiah. As we saw earlier, Isaiah means the salvation of the Lord, and John means gift of God. And indeed, the salvation of the Lord is a gift. most precious gift indeed. And Revelation, 66 book of the Bible, Isaiah, 66 chapters, right? So we just see this deep connection between the two. They are mates. So now I'm going to close out this video. Let's hear some final words from Brandon Peterson. You can find a link to his video in the description and also to Joe Rogan's video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel.
Now, I know there's some countries where it's banned and you'll be persecuted or killed if you have it, but it still has spread to the ends of the earth. God's word has gone out and has not returned void, and every country of this earth has received this book. And that is how you know. So this book itself, as Christians, will this book ever change? No, it's not going to change. No one's going to add a book to the Bible. The canon is closed. Christians all over the world, no matter what denomination, believe that. I know there's places in Ethiopia where they have a different amount of books. But for the most part, the majority of Christendom, this book is final. There's no adding to it. There's no taking away from it. There's no adding chapters. There's no taking away chapters. There's no adding books or taking away books. That canon is closed, and no one's going to change that. So this book is exactly what this is talking about. In Isaiah 34, it says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read." So this chapter is without a doubt talking about the Bible. And that's important to know because everything in our faith depends on this book. And it's important to know that God has had this book in mind from the beginning. It wasn't just meant to be original writings and then all put together and now we're just trying to figure out what it was in the original writings. It was meant to come together into one book. And if it was meant by God to come together into one book, God will make sure that book takes place with his own hands. So it wasn't preserved by man. God is the one who puts his name on the book. It's not called the book of the law, not even called the scriptures. It's called the book of the Lord. That's the name of God. All capital Lord means Jehovah. In the Hebrew, as a tetragrammaton in Hebrew. That's his book with his own name on it. And if it has his name on it, it's going to be perfect. There's not going to be any errors in it. There's not going to be any mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. And if he's prophesying of a book with his name on it, I guarantee you it doesn't have any mistakes in it. So I'm making this video so that you can see for yourself. The Bible is prophesied in the Bible. God has promised this book to us from a long, long, long time ago. If anybody tries to tell you otherwise, that this is not the word of God, that we're missing books, or the Apocrypha was supposed to be in this, or something like that, no. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. That book is in our hands, and that book is the King James Bible.